Okay, so let's take a comfortable seat together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying the humor, camaraderie. So you can rest your hands in your lap, please, and you're welcome to close your eyes. Speaking of cats, there might be some cat mayhem in this room, and I will monitor that and remove them if I need to. Otherwise, no one in the Zoom class is responsible for their mischief. For the last few days, I've been talking about the practice of yoga cultivating in us this quality I call the lighthouse, which is where we are stable enough and in a full spectrum way, we are still able to sort of broadcast a light or an invitation for that stability to be not only our own, but a place of refuge for others to also find their way back to their own sense of their inner lighthouse. One of the things about a lighthouse is that its steadiness and the broadcast of its light is essential when a boat on the ocean is in trouble. It will know where the shore is and how to come back in. So what we cultivate in our yoga practice is this quality of steadiness. We also want to connect to that light, which is essentially coming through us. And then cultivate it as a broadcast that's non-exclusive. So notice what happens, even just as you recall, like the purpose of your yoga practice. What happens since you have a lot of experience already as yogis? What happens in just recalling that? Now let the breath start to move up and down the length of the spine. And yesterday and the day prior, I was describing the spine as like inside of old lighthouses, you had to go up the stairs to get to the top to light the light. So if you had a picture of a spiral staircase inside of a lighthouse, you can imagine that the spine is like that central axis in the lighthouse. And so notice where the breath is easily able to experience the spine and where your breath feels challenged for that. And with the information you have from within your body, and also with your dedication for being here, please bring your hands to your heart. We're going to chant the Gayatri mantra. I'm just going to get one of my, there we go, back down, honey, thank you. So let's begin. Om Bhurva Suvaha Tatsavitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhurva Bhuvasuvah Tatsavitorvarenyam Bhargo devasya dhimahi Dhiyo yona prachodayata Om Bhuvasuvah Tatsavitorvarenyam Bhargo devasya dhimahi Dhiyo yona prachodayata Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands, and while sitting up straight and tall, just checking on cat mischief, think we're going to be okay. While sitting up straight and tall, take your arms out to the sides, turn your palms face up, and inhale, raise the breath from the lower to the middle to the upper portions of your torso. Gaze up as your hands meet. Interlace your fingers, exhale to push up, bring your chin down. Now inhale to go up, including opening your chest, your heart, and your throat. And exhale, push out to the sides of the room. Turn your palms face up. Begin again, inhale. Clasp your hands, exhale, push up, gaze down. Inhale to go up, start at the base, move up through your spine, your heart, your gaze. This time exhale, squeeze your hands down behind your head so the pinkies are at the base of the skull. Inhale, elbows forward and up. And exhale to push up, gaze down. Inhale to open, gazing up. And exhale, hands back to your knees. And just sit really still for a moment, noticing the way your body takes care. We're going to add to that sequence. Please take the arms out to the side, turn your palms out, and inhale, lower, middle, upper. We're going to gaze up at the top. Interlace your fingers, press up with the heels of the hands, look down. Inhale, gaze up, open your chest, your heart, and your throat. Exhale, squeeze the hands down behind your head, squeeze the shoulder blades as you gaze down. Inhale, elbows forward and up. Exhale, level the head. Now inhale, twist to your right. Raise the right elbow, bring your left elbow forward. Exhale to center. Inhale, go left. Raise your left elbow, reach the right elbow forward. Exhale to center. Inhale, press up. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, rise up. And this time, exhale, push out to the sides of the room. Reach down at the small of your back. And as you inhale, clasp your hands and roll your chest, your heart, and your throat open. And exhale, release your hands out over your knees. And sit really still, noticing that you've had an influence. The practice is moving energy within you. See if you can notice both that which is moving, that which is the echo. And that essential nature that is deeply still. We say sometimes that which is not rising and passing, that which is not coming and going, that which is abiding. Tada, drastuh, svarupe, avasathanam. Okay, please cross your left hand to your right knee and take your right hand behind you. And as you twist to your right, go ahead and gaze over your right shoulder. And let's imagine now the lighthouse, so the spinal column, really stable, and the breath moving within as if you were a small human inside of a small staircase going up a small lighthouse. The breath is lighting up the inner body. When you exhale, draw the front belly in towards your spine and towards your back belly. Now in a twisting pose, you might more readily be able to sense the spiral staircase analogy as each of the vertebrae twisting whatever their capacity for twisting is. And some vertebrae are not meant to turn as far as others, so don't think of it as an equal rotation for each of the vertebrae. The larger vertebrae closer to your sacrum are not intended to turn so much. When you get to the mid and upper thoracic spine and then up into the cervical spine, we are looking for a bit more movement. Okay, let's put both hands over the right knee. So place your right hand on your left hand and start adding a side bend to your left while keeping most of your twist. And then rise up to center. Release your pose. You can face forward. It's possible that you're going to feel a kind of swirling or rotating energy, a kind of internal movement like a spiral. Also try to sense that which is really deeply still. It's not moving about. And then cross your right hand over to your left knee, walk your left hand behind you. And as you're turning, twisting, and rotating, gaze over your left shoulder, you can close your eyes. And see if you can imagine it again like that internal spiral staircase going up. The light that will come from the lighthouse in this image would be at your eyes and also at the sixth chakra. Try to focus on the exhale so you really have a sense that you're drawing the front belly and the inner belly towards the spine, towards the back belly. Transition from your exhale to your inhale really smoothly. And then place your left hand with your right hand out over your left knee and begin to side bend to your right. And as you're side bending, try to keep some of the twist. And notice what happens to the breath and how you have to be sensitive to the changes in the spinal structure. Means a change with your lungs. And with an exhale, use the left low belly to bring yourself upright. And then rotate around to center. And listen for what's present inside. And what is that deeper presence that isn't coming and going, rising and passing? That which isn't swirling or flickering from the practice we just had. Now I'm going to ask us to come up to standing, and I'll switch my camera. Let me see if I got it straight also. One moment. We're going to come up to a horse stance. So that's not straight. Okay. You see my assistant teacher is showing how to relax. We're going to come up to a horse stance. Okay, so horse stance is feet as wide as your yoga mat. And turn the toes slightly out, bend your knees. We're going to just swing the arms to get started here. So when you're swinging, swing back with two fists and then swing forward, flying the fingers open. So you're flicking energy off, almost as if you had washed your hands, but you don't have a paper towel or another towel, so you're air drying your fingers. We're going to add a brisk inhale and exhale to this. So you're going to inhale when the fists are going back and exhale when they come forward. And we are breathing through the nose. Five, four, three, two, one. Now let the arms swing until they're still. And then let's inhale, raise both arms up. And exhale, bend your knees and come down like a ragdoll forward bend. So let's keep the knees a little bit bent. Put your body weight into your hips and your heels. And let the torso cascade down. I'm going to recommend that you inhale fully through the nose. And then let your body exhale like sighing or yawning or maybe like a little moan, whatever you need to move energy within the body, that which might be stored or stagnant or trapped, and you want to expel that out. Okay, and then shift your hands Up to your knees, push down to rise up. And now we're going to practice a slightly different form of that, which actually has a name. That was called arm swings. Now this one is called the breath of joy. And you bend the knees. We go inhale, inhale, and then we go inhale, almost like you're holding pom-poms. Sorry if that's aversive. And then we're going to exhale, and the hands are open, and you swing them back, and you make a sound. And the sound is ha. So you're releasing, and it's kind of brisk. So it goes like this. Ha. 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 3 more. Ha. 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 And then stay down in your ragdoll forward bend. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale completely. You can use sighing, yawning, moaning, whatever feels right to your body. And then please walk your hands up to your knees and rise up to standing and come into mountain pose. And let's see if in mountain pose you can sense that inner lighthouse quality, the inner spiral staircase. You're welcome to close your eyes. Of course, there's energy moving, like you've just made a little effervescence in your physiology. Also let your attention be present to that which is not coming and going. It's not the waves rising and falling on the ocean. I'm going to ask you to take a wide stance in Prasarita Badakanasana. And in the wide stance, pardon me, honey, while I move these things. In the wide stance, please come down to your forward bend with the hands stretched out in front of you. Okay, so this past couple of weeks, we've been exploring what happens with the exhale into the exhale pause. So in this pose, Prasarita Badakanasana, please energize both legs. Be really steady. When you inhale, begin the breath at the back hemisphere of the pelvic floor. Move it across the back hemisphere of your body. And when you exhale, start by toning the front hemisphere of the pelvic floor, and then up the front of your sacrum, up the front of the lumbar spine, up through the inner body. Make the transitions, especially from exhale to exhale pause to inhale, very smooth. Now keeping a quality of smoothness to the breath, and with the left leg straight, bend your right knee and walk your hands over to the right. When you bend the right knee, sit back with your hips and down into your right heel. Keep aiming your right knee in line with the toes of your right foot. Notice if you can sustain a kind of smoothness in the breath cycle. We're going to keep the left arm stretched out in front. Take your right hand to your right knee and start twisting your heart to the right. When you twisted your upper back, chest, and heart to the right, it's possible that you felt like the left upper inner thigh lit up a little bit more. That would not be incorrect or unexpected. Okay, with an exhale, press down into your right foot and walk your hands and your body back to the base of Prasarita Padottanasana. And then exhale, bend your left knee, walk your hands over to the left and sit back into your left hip. So it is back and down. Do your best to keep the breath really smooth, particularly from your exhale to your exhale pause into your inhale. Let's place the left hand up on the left knee and twist to your left, please. And then root down into your left heel, walk yourself back to center, Prasarita Padottanasana. And then walk your hands back to your hips, please, and rise up to standing. We're already at a wide stance, so let's turn the heels in and the toes out and come down to your jazz dance warm-up pose. And so now the spine is centered and a little more upright, so you can sense that idea of the lighthouse once again. Press out with both arms so that your arms are strong. Keep the legs steady and strong. And put your focus on the breath in the inner body. See if you can sense here, the inhale would begin at the back hemisphere of the pelvic floor. So between the sitting bones and your tailbone. And then up the back of the sacrum, the back of your waist, even to the back of the heart, between the shoulder blades. And then the exhale from the front hemisphere of the pelvic floor, up the front line of the spine. And turn your left fingers in, and as you twist to your right, try to keep the spine where it is, centered, so you're rotating around that central axis. You might notice when you've twisted the spine that there is a change for the left upper inner thigh. But that does not need to distract. The breath can stay really consistent and very smooth. Rotate to center, turn your right fingers in, left fingers out, and please twist to your left. Notice how the breath is moving in you. And see if you can still stay connected to the back hemisphere of the pelvic floor. When you twist it to your left, you might feel the right inner thigh. You may feel some change at the shape of the pelvic floor. That's not necessary, but you might have some myofascial or musculoskeletal things that your body has to work out. Let's rotate to center and press down to rise up. And we'll go heel toe to center. Step into mountain pose, please. And see if you can sense once more that central axis around which the whole practice is going to be moving. We will be doing twisting poses today. So you can sense it moment to moment, reflection to reflection. Okay, what's happening now? Okay, so let's step forward for a surya namaskar. There's going to be a couple variations in the sun salutation. Some of you were here yesterday and you've experienced part of those already. One variation might be that you have to step backwards over your cat to do your practice. He's pretty relaxed right now, so we'll see what happens. So please join your hands together at your heart. So let's think of mountain pose. Today we can call it we'll call it lighthouse pose. And you could imagine if there was an ocean with some boats, how trustworthy would your lighthouse be for them right now? Okay, with your ujjayi, sweep the hands down, wide and up. Exhale to chair pose. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, left toes straight back. This is the crescent lunge. So we'll inhale to rise, root down into your right heel as you come up. Exhale, airplane pose. Make the left leg strong behind you. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. And exhale, airplane pose, left leg strong behind you. One more time, inhale to rise. Exhale, descend. So let's go through airplane pose and then touch the two blocks. Keep the left inner thigh strong and step backwards to plank pose. And exhale, downward facing dog pose. Breathe in. And then exhale, left foot forward between the blocks. Press into your right toes. Inhale, rise slowly. Exhale, airplane pose. Keep the right hip strong behind you, all the way to your right heel and your big toe. Inhale, climb up with the breath, going up the spiral staircase. Exhale, airplane pose. One more time, inhale to rise. And exhale, airplane pose, come forward. Touching the two blocks, keep the right inner thigh strong. Inhale to plank. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, step over one foot to point the toes. Step over the other foot to point the toes. Come to seal pose. Inhale to go up. Exhale to plank. Inhale to downward dog pose. Exhale, right foot forward. Left leg strong. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. And here comes a twist from the crescent lunge. So exhale, airplane pose, and come down. Inhale, back up, crescent lunge. Exhale like an airplane turning in the sky. Inhale to rise. One more time, exhale, coming down into the twist. Last one, inhale to rise. And exhale, simply come forward and down. Keep the left inner thigh strong. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Enjoy the inhale. And then exhale, left foot forward. Press into your right big toe. Keeping the right leg strong, inhale to rise. Exhale, airplane, and twist. Inhale, rise. Keep the left outer hip stable. Exhale. Once more, going up. One more time, twisting. And now rising. And descending. This time we'll step forward, so float your right foot up, bring your heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale for a deep bow to the legs. Inhale, rise up. And then hands coming back down to the heart. Let's call this lighthouse pose for today. Okay, now we're going to include Asana. So inhale, upward hands pose, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, chair pose. Okay, inhale to rise, upward hands pose. Exhale, descend, Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward. Okay, exhale, take your left toes straight back. Touch your left knee down to the floor. Inhale, rise up, Asana. Now, when you exhale, descend. Imagine you're holding a giant beach ball. Just come over your right leg without collapsing on it. And then inhale, open that back up, Asana. And exhale. So when you're coming down, it's like the inner belly is moving back towards the spine. There's a cat pose spine here. And then inhale, rise up without collapsing your lower abdomen onto your front thigh. And exhale again. So this undulation is really like cat pose right here in the spine. And then the upper part, more like cow pose. Let's do it one more time. Exhale. Inhale, breathing in and going up. And then exhale, bring your hands down to the two blocks. Tuck the left toes under and with the left leg strong, inhale back to plank pose. Exhale to downward facing dog pose. With your next exhale, bring your left foot forward between your blocks and touch your right knee down. Inhale to Asana. And exhale like a giant beach ball. So you actually are rounding the spine there. We're not collapsing on the left thigh. And inhale to go up, Asana. Exhale, wide, forward, inward, downward. Again. It's kind of like the undulation of those waves in the ocean. We're going to go up one more time. And then this time, exhale, place your hands on the blocks. Make the right leg strong, lift your knee behind you. And inhale, step to plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Now inhale, roll forward to plank. Step over the top of one foot, point the toes. Step over the top of the other foot, so the toes are pointed behind you. Do not squish your cat with your kneecaps. And when inhaling, go up to seal. And exhale to plank. And inhale to downward dog pose. Okay, exhale, one foot forward, second foot forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to the heart. Lighthouse pose. Respect everything that's moving or swirling. Also listen for that which is not coming and going, rising and passing. Let's put the blocks on the inside of the feet. We're going to switch them. So your blocks will be more narrow, the feet will be on the outside. And let's put the feet to the wide edges of the mat, please. Yeah, the cat is still there. He's moved a couple of limbs, but he hasn't moved his torso. Okay, so what we're going to do here when we step back to the base of Warrior One, your right foot's going to be on the right side of the mat. The left foot will be back on the left side of the mat. So come down like this, place your hands, bend your knees, step the left foot back to the left edge of your mat, and pivot the left heel in. So your toes may be on the edge of the mat there and your heel angled in. With the right knee, aim it in line with your toes, which might be slightly turned out right now. And then practice centering your pelvis, your hips, and your spine. So though the legs are off to the northeast and the southwest, or whatever directions you're facing, the torso and the spine are going to be centered here on the mat. And then you may come down to your forearms. You may not need to come down to the forearms. You might want to raise your blocks up. Some people do the blocks like there's a middle path here where you've got the block flat and then medium. And then they put the elbows down. That's another way to do it. Most importantly, I want you to have a sense that the torso can cascade down and the weight of the head is relaxed. And then cross your left forearm on the blocks, even if your blocks are taller, and support your right shin and your left fingers. Let them meet each other there. Take your right hand to your right knee and begin twisting your heart and your torso to the right. Continue the twist into your mid back, your upper back, your neck and your head. Reach from the center of the pelvis back into your left heel. And then when you're ready to unwind from the twist, depending on how you've got your blocks now, return them to this position where the two blocks are narrow and they're together like an equal sign. Pivot your left heel up and step your right foot back. So you've got a wide-footed plank pose and the hands are more narrow in this plank pose. Reach back to dog pose using this hand and foot position. And then roll forward and place your left foot on the outside edge of the mat and pivot your right heel in and down. You can reorganize the blocks as you need to. And then decide if you're going to be coming down to your elbows, how you'd like the blocks to be configured for that. Try to center your hips. There's going to be a temptation for the hips to sashay off to the left. That's a very common temptation. So see if you might tone the left outer hip and reach back with your upper inner right thigh into your right heel. And take your left hand to your left knee. Cross your right forearm on your blocks. So your right hand and your left ankle can meet. And then twist to your left. Imagine the spiral staircase inside. So we know that the sacrum isn't the source of twisting. The lumbar spine and the first few lumbar vertebrae really don't twist that much. So you're asking for the twist in your thoracic spine, particularly in the mid to upper thoracic spine, and then into your head and your neck. And then as you exhale, flow back down. Again, make the blocks so that they're narrow blocks for your hands. Step back to this wide-footed plank pose and shift to a wide-footed downward dog pose where the hands are more narrow, so closer than shoulder width. And then please roll forward, touch your knees down, and come back to child's pose. And in this child's pose, let's put a block for the head and come down so that your forearms are on the floor. The palms can face up. It's okay to separate the knees a little bit as you need to. Yeah. And then walk your hands back towards your knees. And let's take one block to kneel on in the pose. We call it Vajrasana. Sometimes we call it virasana. You can decide. But when you take a kneeling position here, now let's imagine this as the kneeling version of your lighthouse pose. Check and see what's happening now with the spine and the inner body. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that wide-footed, revolved, twisty thing with Asana mixed together, because I want to be able to address the hip flexors, and there's a process for how we can go there and even additionally address the quadricep muscles. So I'd like you to step your right foot forward. You probably want padding for your knee if you don't have a double mat, which is what I have here. So right foot forward to Asana. Let's put the blocks up at the ready. And with the right foot, let's take it out just a little bit to the side. We're not going to go as wide as the whole mat, but you can go a little bit to the right and come down to your forearms. Angle the hips forward so the tailbone does go down, and you can even firm the left butt muscles, right? It's not like the left leg is in Shavasana back there. It's up to you if you want to have the left toes tucked under or the left toes pointed. And have you cross your left forearm over the blocks so your left hand and your right ankle can meet. Take your right hand to your right knee, begin twisting to your right. In that twisting now, let's allow for the outer left hip and the left hip flexors to open a bit more towards the floor. Rotate your chest and your heart. You might be able to stack your shoulders in this twist. And then exhale and unwind. So facing towards the two blocks, you can press down, and let's step back to plank pose. And then bring your left foot forward and the right knee down towards your Asana without landing on your cat's head. And again, you can have the left foot a little bit off to the left there, and you may choose to come down to your forearms. Invite your hips to glide forward, to come down and forward towards the blocks. You can decide if you want the right toes pointed back there or tucked under. We're going to cross the right forearm over the two blocks, and you can hold on to your left ankle. Take your left hand up to your left knee, and as you start twisting your upper back to your left, allow the right hip to ease forward and down. Maybe even the outer right hip will kind of lounge down towards the floor. Lounging, like meaning relaxing, lounging around. But do keep the right butt muscles toned. So there is a quality of support to the right hip joint. You may be able to stack your your shoulders in the twist. So the left shoulder might stack over the right shoulder. And then you're going to exhale and slowly come back down. Place your two hands on the blocks, and let's step back again to plank pose. And then touch the knees down once more and come to Vadrasana or Virasana. You can sit on the block as you like, medium or flat, whatever is your preference. This is the kneeling version of your lighthouse pose. You could imagine this inner lighthouse, the ocean with the waves and the boats. Those are all parts of you, by the way. So how trustworthy do those boats on the ocean sense that you are right now? Okay, so now I'd like you to switch what you're sitting on. So you're going to have your 2 blocks nearby, but let me ask you to take these 2 blankets folded something like this. So they are something got mixed up here with my blanket, so we'll just fix it. So these are the long blankets like this, folded in half, length to length twice. And I'm going to ask you to have the firm edge, which is where the blankets meet. Let's have the firm edge be what's facing forward. Let's see if I can scoot myself back onto my yoga mat over here. So when you kneel on this now, I want these blankets to be high enough that you can comfortably kneel on them. So I'm partway on my mat, partway I'm giving my mat to my assistant teacher here. So kneeling like this, your hips are going to go down a little bit lower than they would if they were on one block. And I know that not everybody's knees bend this much, so you can raise up the blankets by putting a block underneath them, so your hips are up higher. Let's take these 2 blocks. We're going to be walking backwards. So the blocks are to make it so that you don't have to reach the floor. But if you can reach the floor, you can easily put your hands then down on the floor. So when you're walking backwards, lengthen your tailbone forward, stretch the front of the thighs along the hip flexor and into the quadriceps and down to the knees. When I say lengthen the tailbone, I genuinely mean that you want to have a sense that the tailbone is gliding towards the knees and the sacrum actually getting, we could say, longer. Take the spine back. Please keep your blocks or your hands on the floor. Roll your chest and heart and shoulders open. For those whose quadriceps are feeling receptive to it, you can lie all the way down. That is not going to be the case for everyone. For those who are staying upright or with your blocks, you can also reach back with the inner belly, so you have a sense of the openness that you're looking for there. And then for everyone, rising up and returning to sitting, just to sitting. Okay, let's keep the 2 lengthwise blankets and place the feet into Badakanasana. Now, often we don't sit on the edge of the blanket like this lengthwise, but we are going to this morning. So when you're sitting here, if you rock the hips side to side, you're kind of like you're in a canoe, right? You can come down to one side or the other. So please start with the blocks under your knees to support your canoe on the ocean and come forward. And as you're coming forward and down, consider a quality like you're melting forward, not like it's not a forceful action. And then please rise up to sitting. Okay. I'm going to do something briefly here before we go to Shavasana. So here you are with the blocks. Lay your left outer thigh and shin down. The right one's going to pop up a little bit. It's like your canoe tipped, right? And take your right hand against your right knee and give a little openness there. So with the left thigh for sure on the floor. And then roll your pelvis up and over to the other side. Take your left hand to your left knee. And then coming back up to sit, I'm going to ask if you can balance here without the blocks. And so because the blankets are narrow and how you're sitting on them, you have the sitting bones and the tailbone. The pubic bone is probably not touching the blankets. The sitting bones are. The tailbone is near to but may not be touching. Are you able to balance here? And close your eyes. So listen for that which can get really still inside. While there's still this life, this vitality, the vibrancy moving around. It may seem paradoxical, but at the same time, simultaneously, that which is not coming and going, that which is not rising and passing, that which is not flickering in and out, is ever present, we say in yoga. And there's this phenomenon of all that is rising and passing, energy moving. Let's take the 2 blocks and the 2 blankets and we'll come down to Badakanasana. What I recommend is that you just slide yourself forward of the 2 blankets, position your blocks, lie back and make a curled blanket for your neck. So there's a support right there. And when you do get that set up, if you'd like to add an eye pillow, you're welcome to do that. You also can have your sandbag if you have that close by. You could put the sandbag across the base of your pelvis, across your lap. And if you'd like to, you can also cover up with a blanket. So we're going to have this Shavasana here now so that we can come to a seated practice at the end of our physical practice. So when you come to this Shavasana, dedicate it for yourself to have a really still and quiet mind. Let the body also become still. So let's imagine that the body now could be like the ocean at sundown. You know how it becomes more calm, the waves change, the feeling of the air over the ocean changes. Even how the birds are responding also changes. So let's picture yourself like the ocean at sundown right now. So allow your body to get really heavy with relaxation. It can be limp, the mind, the body, thought habits. Let everything become deeply restful, like the ocean at sundown. Listen for any place in your body where you're holding tension unnecessarily. And you can just use the mantra ocean at sundown and let your body know. Okay, no need to hold on there. Allow your mind to be tranquil, like the ocean at sundown. The air above the ocean changes. The pattern of the birds changes. Allow your body to be heavy with relaxation. Just check again for any place in the body where there's unnecessary tension. And you can use the mantra, ocean at sundown, or something of that sort. And then recognizing this ocean at sundown, the quality of the mind we would call sattvic. The two sattvic times of day are sunrise and sunset. So picturing that mind quality, you can bring your knees up to center and stretch the legs out straight. And let the mind continue to go downstream, I like to say, like the ocean becoming even more calm. And we're going to roll down to the right so that you can rest on your side for a few moments. And then use both hands to come back up to sitting. We're going to take a comfortable seat. This is your seat for pranayama and meditation, please. So when you come to your seat, do the support that you need for your seat to be comfortable so it's not going to get distracted. Right. So for me, I don't put support under my knees because I'm sitting just on the very front of these blankets. It's like right behind the base of my sacrum. You might need support under your knees though. Yeah. And then rest your hands out over your knees. So twisting poses work on that spiral principle. We're now going to practice Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing, to help also integrate. Nadi means the nadis, the nervous system. Shodhana means to cleanse. So bring the first two fingers into the center of your palm. This is inhale left, exhale right, and then inhale right, and exhale left. That's the general pattern. I'm going to ask you to balance your inhale with your exhale and let the pauses be brief but potent, so you can sense that the pause actually exists. Okay, let's begin. As you're breathing in and out through the nose, one nostril at a time, make the breath smooth and see if you can follow the pathway of the breath From the base of inhale and the base of exhale, each goes up. So we inhale lower, middle, upper. We also exhale lower, middle, upper. And finish with your next exhale through the left nostril. And you can rest your hands in your lap. And try to sense yourself really sitting in the spinal column or in the lighthouse. Your limbs are important, but they're not primary right now. Let your attention go deeply within. This is the most important part of our practice, where we go within and we really stabilize there. So we say, Tada, drastuh, svarupe, avasathanam. Invite your mind to be deeply still, attention resting on that which is not coming and going, that which is not rising and fading. This is very alive, ever present. As you keep resting your attention on that which is not coming and going, that which is not the waves of the ocean rising and passing. Try to sense that infusing everything and everyone. That which we say in yoga is ever fresh, ever present, always abiding. Tada, drastuh, svarupe, avasathanam. You can sense that infusing life, infusing everyone and everything. So then as you see people today, or you see animals or pets, or you see plants, whatever it is, you see that shining through them. Let's also imagine that if we had the opportunity to see each other, then you'd have people seeing that in you as well. Not only are you seeing it in others, but others would see it in you. Please bring your hands together at your heart. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Namaste. My assistant teacher has gone to rest with his other assistant teacher. I'm going to come up to say hi to you. I have to change my camera, so just a moment. My assistant teachers are now back over there. They match their baskets, so you can't really see them, but that's where they are. And how are you feeling? How is this landing in you?